Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and everybody always asks me, why doesn't Wizards just simply do what everyone's asking? And on certain topics, yes, why don't they just spell check their tweets before they tweet them? Or stop spouting off stupid pro-liberal, crap that has nothing to do with their product or their company? That would be a pretty easy fix. Yes, they probably should do that. It's obviously a management problem. But for the more complex things, like how to design a set, I think I have a little bit of an insight into that. Now, I think everybody's on the same page. Stop printing OP garbage like Siege Rhino, Thoughtseize, Ugin, God, what other cards did everybody hate? Emrakul, that would be on the list. Smuggler's Copter, everybody loves Smuggler's Copter. They really do need to stop printing that. It's just as simple as that. Just R&D, do your job. Simple. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. I mean, some cards, you look at Emrakul and you're like, that's too powerful, and then it goes into play and it gets in a deck, and it turns out that's too powerful. I mean, Chimpanzee could have caught that. Same with Siege Rhino. Anybody could have looked at Siege Rhino and said that's a mistake. But certain other cards slip through just unexpectedly. It happens, whatever. It could happen a lot less, though. But I think that's where everybody's agreement ends. Well, then again, everybody is in agreement, just not with their own thoughts. Let me give you an example. So you have to think, what does the average, mid-range player, I guess you could say, what do they want? And I mean, somebody who's been going to F&M regularly and they've been playing for at least a year, we'll say. So just a typical average person who spends money on the game and plays it a lot. And obviously, I'm not referring to the top-level pros. They want something completely different, and who cares, because the other 99.9% of people want something different. Usually, not always. They do actually align sometimes. So herein lies the problem. Now put yourself in Wizards' shoes and start, you go into a meeting and you say, okay, let's start with what customers want. I don't care whether we can fulfill it or not. Let's just make a list of what customers want. Well, I took all the major common complaints that people have had and then inverted them. Because, that should be what people want. And by the way, this does not apply to everybody, just the majority of players. If this doesn't describe you, congratulations, you're a reasonable, logical person. Well, you're watching my channel, so yeah. But the average player wants to just look up one of the top decks and pick one. They don't want to do work, they don't want to think, they don't want to sit there and experiment and waste cards or waste money on cards that don't end up in their final cut of the deck. They just want to be told what to run and then run it so that they have the highest chance of winning. And they want it to be really obvious what the best deck is, too. They want it to really stand out, this is the deck to be playing. But they also don't want any mirror matches. So basically, nobody gets to play it but them, and then, nobody else. Everybody else can play something lesser. Because that's realistic. But like I said, they don't want mirror matches. So they don't want everybody else playing the deck that they're playing, but they want the top-level deck to be really obvious. But, only to them, I guess. They also want the cards to be dirt cheap, but then they want them to have a high value when they go to sell them nearing the end of standard, but they want the cards to be cheap in the first place, which would indicate that they're not very valuable in Modern. So they want them to both be valuable in Modern and not valuable in Modern at the same time. So they want to buy the cards low initially and sell them high later on. And then you've got the investors or the hoarders or whatever, small fry ones, we're not talking Star City Games level here. Somebody that just, they put, a couple hundred to a couple grand into the game, and they got, a nice trade binder of full play sets of just really popular mythics from the last 5 years or 10 years. And they got, one sealed box of every set, something like that. So they want enough boxes to go around. They want the local gaming store to never be out, and they want the boxes to be very reasonable. Or if they just buy the singles, they want the singles to be low. So they want a really, really high print run. Oh, but they also want a really, really small print run because they want to make the most amount of money in the shortest period of time because they're sitting on the boxes. But since they're also playing Magic instead of just investing in it, they also want, cheap available cards. Those two are complete and utter contradictions. So what the typical player wants is completely contradictory to itself, plus really, really greedy and selfish. So my favorite one is the investors, where they're investors but they're also players, and they want two completely opposite things at the same time. They want their deck to be cheap so that they can afford to play standard, but they also want the cards to be super valuable right off the bat so that their box is worth a ton. A good starting point tends to indicate an even higher end point 5 years from now. That's not universally true though. So, in summary, they want nobody to win but them. They want the net decks, but only they can play them. They want high variety, but low variety so that they know what to play. They want to always win, and they don't want to think. They're incredibly lazy, and all they want to do is win and get free prizes. Oh, they also want the prizes to be really, really, really good, but they don't want to pay much to enter every week at FNM. Oh, and they also want a highly, highly consistent deck that always works, but doesn't work the same way every time because that's boring. I think that pretty much covers it. There's probably 50 more contradictions, but you guys get it. What people want is just stupid and illogical. It's not even physically possible. And I'm not saying people are like writing into Wizards or commenting on, some things on Reddit, although maybe Reddit. I mean, if there was one place that people were leaving comments like this, it would be Reddit. But, they like subconsciously, if anything, or just really quietly want everything I just said. They're not telling Wizards, I want to go to FNM and be the only one to win and nobody should win but me. And the card should be available, but then to everybody else expensive. So nobody gets to play but me and I get to win and I'm the greatest. That's basically what people want. Oh, and here's my favorite one, because this one I think we can all identify with. So you got some player named, Bobby. Bobby decided that he didn't like the 6-month rotation because he wants to keep his cards longer. So, yay, he complained along with his stupid selfish friends, and now they're back to a 1-year rotation on cards. Fast forward 5 seconds, and Bobby is going from celebrating and being happy with the decision to, oh man, they're going to keep Smuggler's Copter for an extra 6 months? I can't believe that. Well, Bobby, maybe you shouldn't have whined and complained to Wizards and gotten it changed if you didn't know what the hell you wanted and it was contradictory and you're an idiot. Seriously, the same volume of people, if not literally the same people that were complaining about the 6-month rotation, are now complaining about cards being legal longer. You can't have it both ways, but at the end of the day, they're just selfish and greedy. It's all about them. If something benefits them, great, because now they can spend less money. Oh, but now everybody else is doing something annoying that they don't like because of it. That's perfectly fair and balanced. Oh, now it's bad, because it's all about them and the whole world revolves around them. Oh, did I mention these people are typically net deckers? Because let me just name a different kind of person. Probably most of you out there watching my channel, but not by any stretch of the imagination the majority of FNM attendees. We like, new ideas. We like, low-powered standard. And that's the other thing. These people want super turbo high-powered standard so that they can run just a crush you deck and have time to run to Burger King in between matches. Oh, but they also don't like other people winning on turn 4. They want like a really low power standard, but for everybody but them, basically. But people like me, we like, bringing a different deck every week, so the lower the cost of the cards, the better. If you open up a box and it has an EV of $60, that kind of sucks. But if you just buy singles, then you win either way, so you just kind of work around that. As a single seller, I bet you could guess what side I'm on. But as a player, you just work around it. You either buy sealed product or you buy singles according to whichever one's the most cost effective. And then, I care if I win. I'm ultra competitive. I go in to win, but I'm not going to copy somebody else's work, copy somebody else's idea, and show up with the same stupid deck that everybody else is running. I'm not going to do that. I am never going to do that. Half the fun in Magic is winning, but half the fun is also coming up with crazy new deck designs that nobody's seen, because that's an accomplishment. As much as I love winning the game, like literally, I also consider it winning the game if I lost the round, but somebody said, wow, that is a killer deck, I can't believe I beat it. In my opinion, in my head, that means I won the game because I designed the best deck. Yeah, I didn't win that one time because maybe your deck is even 5% more powerful, but guess what? That ain't your deck. That's somebody else's deck that you copied. Not everybody enjoys deck building. I get it. I'm way into math. I'm way into probability. I'm way into problem solving and puzzles. Totally not everybody's into that. I get it. But the type of people who are typically super selfish about all this are the net deckers, the people who they show up to win, no fun allowed. Everything needs to be their way, and everything they want, they need to get immediately. Just that type of personality. That's a huge portion of the people who net deck. By the way, the definition of net decking is not copying a deck off the internet, it's copying a top tournament winning deck off the internet. There's a difference in not being interested in any way, shape, or form in deck building and constantly having to win. Like mentally, I have to win, I have to run the most high-powered deck because I have to win. Nobody likes those people. Nobody likes net deckers. If you just don't like deck designing, frickin' build one of my decks. I mean, that's kind of why my channel's here. Now, people who are a lot more easygoing and subtle and, they don't sit there and complain and fly off the handle about every last little thing. They just kind of enjoy the game. They're cool. They're reasonable about it. They don't think, oh, nobody should win but me. All the me stuff that I said at the beginning of this video, that doesn't apply to them. That's not their mindset. That's how I would definitely describe myself. I mean, I play to have fun. I'll play some weird format. In fact, we've all done a 100-card common sealed draft for FNM. Yes, that is allowed. So when they announced it or proposed the idea, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And everybody else was like, oh, but I got my $500 net deck and I like winning and blah, 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 blah. And then all the net deckers who suck at deck building and suck at playing Magic in general, they all lost. All the people who really know how to play the game but typically don't net deck, they all won that tournament. It was really funny. Bunch of butthurt individuals after that one. We almost had to bring in like a butthurt specialist from the local hospital to deal with all the butthurt after that tournament. I think they're called proctologists. Did this video just go off the rails a little bit? Because I feel like it did. But hopefully you get my point. What most players want is selfish and self-contradictory and impossible and stupid. Unfortunately, they make the most noise and they complain the most because, I mean, that just, I don't even have to explain it. That's just who they are. That's their personality. The easygoing, whatever, everything goes, who cares, people who are a lot more level-headed and reasonable and logical about the game, they don't go on the internet all day for hours at a time and get on Reddit and yell at Wizards about all the mistakes they're making. So what's the result? Wizards listens to those people. If they whiteboarded it, they would just take those people and completely write them off and ignore them. I think obviously like the switch to 1 year cycle instead of 6 month was like a oh crap, people aren't showing up to FNM. It must not be the design of standard. It must be that, which I still don't think is true. So I think that's the reason they incorrectly made that decision. But there was also an awful lot of people complaining about it, but it's only the complainer type, the type that are never happy because it's all about them and it isn't. Like in their own mind it is, but in actuality it isn't, so they're always mad. I cannot stand people like that, so what we need to do to contradict them is whenever there's a perfectly reasonable change that the really selfish, self-centered people are going to whine about, make sure that you tell Wizards on every social media platform, every survey, Twitter, whatever, make sure you tell them, yes, I'm all for that, I understand the reasons for doing it, let's go. In fact, reprinting Eternal Masters, there you go. All the investors, all the longtime players, all the I get all the money, me, it's all about me, those people were pissed about it. $170 boxes? Oh my god, they all just lost their butts. Yeah, because Wizards prints cards so that they can sit on a shelf sealed and make you money. I think you're confusing Eternal Masters boxes with bricks of silver and gold. No, what you're supposed to do with a pack of Eternal Masters is unseal it, open the boosters, and use the damn cards. That is the intended purpose. Maybe they should print that on the box, because apparently that's not that obvious to some people. At the end of the day, it's just selfishness. That's all it is. Selfishness and greed. It's all about them. So the fact that Wizards came out and said, well, this is what they said, that's a whole different story about why they really did it, but they said, these products are not getting into people's hands. We wanted people to draft with them, but then all the investors and stores and people scooped them all up, and all the single sellers scooped them all up, and nobody could draft with it. So this time around, they wanted to print more, maybe, to let people draft with it if they wanted. They wanted it to get to the real, actual customers. Screw the investors, screw the hoarders, screw the single sellers, screw everybody trying to make money off of it. Which at that print volume that they did initially, yeah, people are going to try to make money off it. I think the initial 1 week before release box EV was around $400. Yeah, even I wanted to make money off it. I don't give a crap whose hands I was taking those out of. And then they only sold them to WPN locations, so I gave up. But when Wizards makes a move like that, all they hear is complaining and backlash. It seems like everything they announce has massive backlash. Well, that's from the selfish people because they don't even know what the hell they want. Either it's really clear and it's really greedy, or it's not so clear because it's completely contradictory. It's a complete paradox. That's why those people, I just can't stand them. I mean, I've met so many of those people. I've probably met 200 to 250 players of Magic, in the last 3 or 4 years, and more than half of them I would describe as just ultra selfish, illogical, just everybody I just described in that video. They want all the money, they want all the prizes, they want all the wins, they don't want to do any work, that type. So I say screw those people. Make Wizards know that there is another group out there that's close to as large as the greedy, selfish types. And when they say, hey, we're reprinting Eternal Masters because not enough got in the hands of customers, tell them, yes, good on you for doing that, even though they were almost definitely lying about the whole thing. But taking it at face value, if that was true, and maybe it is, definitely, support that. When they say, hey, we're going to do a 6-month rotation to get these god-awful cards out of standard and to make the decks a little bit weaker so that there's a higher variety of decks, because weaker decks mean more decks. That is a law of physics. People should have been applauding them. They should have been sending like gorilla grams with cookie bouquets to their office. Just kidding. I hate Wizards with a passion. They keep making so many mistakes. They're so liberal. They're so stupid. They're so mismanaged. I mean, they screw over everybody who sells their products. But when they do something right, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you should at least be like, yes, I support that. Maybe cancel the gorillagram though. So if we all get together and support sensible, logical decisions and changes and that sort of thing, it'll improve the game. We cannot let the whiners and complainers who it's all about me. We can't let them drown out the more reasonable people because Wizards is just so stupid that they listen to them. And well, I mean, look who their community managers are. Yeah, they're not the brightest people in the world. They take everything at face value and act like it's a little people like me echo chamber, and you guys know what's going on. So hopefully that's been a little insight into what customers actually want and how unbelievably stupidly unreasonable it is, and how there's really only 2 types of players out there, and which type I think you should be. Plus, try to be a bit more vocal about it if you're in the right camp. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.